rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Oh, I got to remember to turn on the microphone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. As you can tell, my voice is a little bit off. There's a reason for that. I came back from Texas with an uninvited gift. Both Mrs. Whiskey and I apparently came down with some sort of a 24-hour, 48-hour flu bug. So I've been fighting a fever the last 24 to 36 hours, and so is Mrs. Whiskey. We both, I don't know where the hell it came from. It just popped out of nowhere. It could have been just because of the fact that when we left here, it was like 48 degrees and raining, and then when we landed, it was like 90 degrees and sunny. Yeah. Anyway, that was a big old change in weather, let me tell you. Not that I really want to go on and on about the weather. Beautiful, beautiful weather down there for the entire trip. But obviously they air condition everything. And so anyway, we were in air conditioning almost 100% of the time. Me, of course, because I was still working and things like that. And her because, well, she didn't really have too many places to necessarily go. She was there being the loving wife to go ahead and, be there for me and the team. Had a fantastic time, though. I can tell you that my business partner, Oogie, does a really good tomahawk, beef tomahawk on the grill. And his wife is just a fantastic cook. She loves to cook as well. And she did this charcuterie board, and it was artwork. I'm telling you, she created the roses and everything on it. It looked too good to eat. Even though she got mad at me and said that I had to eat it anyway, just regardless of whether it looked good or not. Anyway, so we had a good time. Mrs. Whiskey and Mrs. Oogie hit it off really well. So that was fantastic. And, just it's a wonderful, wonderful trip. We had great kickoffs, a couple of kickoffs. Unfortunately, Green Hall wouldn't let us broadcast live. And when we finally got out to Lukenbach, Texas, I'm going to tell you, I finally have found, I've been searching for this because throughout my adult life, I have used Verizon Wireless and Verizon Wireless coverage everywhere I've been. I mean, I've been into some podunk places throughout my career, prior to this, obviously, but throughout my career, and every single place that I went, Verizon has never let me down. Until now. So I have actually found the one place in America where the one place in America where Verizon actually gets beat out by T-Mobile in terms of coverage and availability. Yeah, for anybody that tried to tune in on Sunday, I apologize. I know the video was very grainy. And all kinds of stuff. I mean, I tried to do it, but I knew the video probably wasn't going to come through very well. And of course the audio, I couldn't tell because every time I tried to put something into the chat, it wouldn't even send. So it was really pretty bad. For us in Lukenbach. We couldn't even get the Starlink up, although I think my partner has figured that out and why it didn't work. So it'll hopefully work better the next time, if there is a next time, for the team to all get together. But hey, fantastic showing. Dallas Moore is happy, got to meet him. He's happy with the channel. He's doing a great job. If you get a chance to check out his show, it airs. In fact, the third encore airing is tonight, or is going on right now. It's called Dallas Moore's Honky Tonk. Oh, I forgot it. Anyway, yeah, so it's definitely a, I'm going to blame that on the flu. It's definitely a fantastic show. You got to go and check it out. And it's got a lot of, again, the channel has got a lot of like old school country, some new school country, rock, things like that. Great, fantastic mix. I heard some stuff on the channel that I haven't heard in years. And so, yeah, it's just a great reception. A lot of people liked what we were doing, and they snapped the QR code that we had leaning, showing up. And yeah, it was really, really a good time. I think it worked out quite well. I was able to enjoy a little bit of Texas. Now that was close, obviously. Luckenbach, Austin, Temple, Killeen, all of that area where we were at. Green Hall isn't that far away. I mean, it's, hour and a half drive, but all of that's in Central Texas. And as you know, it took me back to my 1991 to 1994 days of being at Fort Hood. In fact, where my business partner lives, he can hear the artillery shells and things like that when they're on the range. He can hear them, and I think he said he could even feel them in the house. Anyway, I miss some of that. So excuse me if I cough a little bit, but that's just remnants of everything that I've got going on. Okay, before we get kicked off here, and honestly, I just realized that one thing that I did miss was switching out the person doing the pledge, because I didn't want to overlap from the last time we were together. Let me do that really quick. Oh, you're going to like this one. Anyway, so before I get into the pledge, I do need some medicine. That's for sure. 3 Chevy. I do need some medicine. I need a lot of medicine. But speaking about that, just because I was thinking of medicine and whiskey and bourbon and stuff, had a Crown Royal barley. That was something that my business partner had on hand that he never opened. So he opened it up just for us. And it was pretty good. Now, speaking of bourbon, there's a man here who, not here, but there's a man that I met that has a fantastic time with bourbon. It was the wonderful and fantastic Billy Stoops. Let me go ahead and bring this up. Oh, there he is. Oh, you know what? He's up in the, oh man. Let me see if I can do this a little bit better. I thought that this was going to work, but there we go. There's Billy. You can actually see Billy. So Billy, he immediately came back Sunday night from our Luckenbach, Texas. In fact, Jonathan Oogie Richards, John had to run him directly to the airport so he could get back here to go to a music festival competition in Portland, Oregon. Now, why is this important? Well, because Billy submitted a song. It was a singer-songwriters competition here in the Northwest. And he submitted a song, and his song was chosen to be one of the semifinalists. Then he had to be there in order to play the song live. And they would determine out of his because there's multiple categories of these things. And the judges would determine out of each category who was the winner. And then all of them would face off in kind of a let's just call it like a death match kind of thing. And he won not only his category, but he also won the overall. So congratulations to Billy Stoops. I'm just going to give him a quick round of applause here because of the fact that Billy made it through Made it through the competition for the second time. He did this one other time earlier. And you guys really, I mean, seriously, he is just a fantastic guy. He's got great stories. He loves to laugh. He enjoys life. And hopefully maybe one of these days I'll wrangle an interview out of him to have him come on the show, and you guys can talk to him and listen to him. You can talk to him or you can listen to him obviously on Dallas Moore's Outlaw Radio, because all of his songs are playing there. So you can go and check that out. And you can also check him out, BillyStoops.com. That's BILLYSTOOPS.com. Don't call him Bill. Don't call him William. Call him Billy. He has always been Billy. That's what he told me. Anyway, so there you go. Check it out. BillyStoops.com would be a fantastic thing for you to do. All right. I know he would appreciate it. I would appreciate it. And so would Dallas Moore Outlaw Radio. Oh boy. All right. Let's go ahead and get things kicked off. Tonight is Coco, Cam, and Sean. They are up for the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you are of mine, please stand, remove your hat if you're wearing one like me, and place your hand over your heart and join in with Coco, Cam, and Sean in the recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And, of course, I thank Coco, Cam, and especially Sean for that wonderful rendition of the Pledge of Allegiance. For those of you that don't know, I normally explain this ahead of time, but Sean is typically, I'm not going to say normally, but typically a nonverbal autistic gentleman. And he gets so excited about the Pledge of Allegiance that he just has to recite it as much as he can. And so that's what you heard was him in the beginning. And then, of course, he broke down into his normal nonverbalness, and then he came in at the very end. It's just fantastic for this young man. And yes, I am going to call him a young man because he is younger than I am for sure. But just a fantastic young man. So wish him the best for everything. And we love Coco Bean over on Coco de Minky, Coco de Whiskey, Coco de insert name here. Yeah, is one of my longtime Whiskey Warrior P1s. Just fantastic. Wonderful rendition. All right, for tonight's headline advertiser or promo, theflagshirt.com. I'm wearing one of their shirts right now. I'm wearing the Declaration of Independence men's polo, cotton polo. Fantastic fit, fantastic quality, fantastic colors. It's just a absolute wonderful time for you to demonstrate your patriotic nature. And right now they're running a Patriots Day sale where you can take $20 off when you spend $100 if you use promo code Patriot20. That's PATRIOT 20, Patriot 20 at checkout, and get $20 off when you spend $100. Keep in mind too, you'll also get free shipping with that, because on orders of $75 or more, they will provide you with free shipping. So make sure that you do that if you decide to get $75 or more, or take them up on that offer of Patriot 20 to make sure you get that. But I know not everybody can spend that kind of money. I get it. Not everybody wants that many t-shirts or that many nice shirts or that many women's shirts, kids shirts, accessories, whatever kind of stuff you want to buy there. I know not everybody wants all of that all at once. So I'm going to help you out. And the reason why I'm going to help you out is because, well, you guys are great. This is what I do. And so What I do is, if you want, you can head on over to flagshirt.americanperspective.online. That's flagshirt.americanperspective.online. And you can flagshirt.americanperspective.online, and you can get a promo code. I got distracted. You can get a promo code for $5 off your order. You'll be presented with that code. You grab that code, copy it, and throw it into the promo box at checkout and get $5 off your order. Over at flagshirt.americanperspective.online, you get that promo code there. You copy and paste it into the promo code box at checkout at theflagshirt.com. You go to theflagshirt.com and get yourself patriotized. Oh, goodness. I'm sorry. We may not be able to last all this whole hour. Whew, my voice is just killing me. And no, to answer your question, Bonnie, I do not know what a rooster fish is. I would have to look it up. I'm guessing probably under the Urban Dictionary. Anyways, speaking of patriotism and patriotics, this first article that I've got here, this just amazes me. Totally freaking amazes me. I can't even believe that there are school districts school districts here in the United States, although given the fact that the Department of Education and most, if not all, of the school districts across this country have turned into woke institutions. Sorry, my chat got me distracted. It's just really, they're getting, anyway. Anyway, let me get back on track here. So LifeZet has this in it. There was a high school in Baltimore, Maryland that called the cops on a student for asking why there aren't American flags in classrooms. Now, here's the kicker, okay, with all of this. Here's the kicker with all of this. It's a state law and a policy of the school district to require American flags in the classroom. So he was basically just asking, why are you not complying with the law? And, well, the result is what you would expect from the Baltimore County School District. They suspended him for 7 days. Yes, they did. They suspended him for 7 days. And now he is suing the school district because of the fact that his constitutional rights, meaning the First Amendment, and I'm not talking about the First Amendment necessarily part of free speech, because while that was violated, there's also another part of that First Amendment that a lot of people don't seem to understand because they don't learn about the Constitution. It is the end of it where you are allowed to address your government for a redress of grievances. This was a grievance that he had. He went to the school board office to ask the question, and he actually believed it. He actually believed that this was a violation of state educational policy and the constitutional rights, and his constitutional rights in terms of all this. Now, his name is Parker Jensen. He's a senior at Towson, Towson High School. Very patriotic young man. He is also aspiring to be a U.S. Marine. He's already signed up and will be entering the U.S. Marine Corps as soon as he graduates. However, he was suspended after he visited the Baltimore County Board of Education. Now, for those of you that don't know, the Board of Education in your city, your town, your county, whatever it is, that's a government entity. And he has the right under the First Amendment, not only to speak his mind, but also to address his government when he has a grievance. This was a grievance. And what's horrible about this thing is he actually left his school. He checked out. Apparently, he can check out of classes, but he checked out of class, went down to the Baltimore County Board of Education, and was not, shall we say, received very well, I guess is the best way to put it. And they went and they called the cops on him and told him that he had to leave because he was suspended. So, here, let me just let the local television station tell you all about it here.
A Towson High School student has now filed a lawsuit against Baltimore County Public Schools after he says his rights were violated.
As Project Baltimore's Chris Papps explains, Parker Jensen believes it was unconstitutional for BCPS to suspend him for asking why American flags were missing in his classrooms.
After serving a 7-day suspension, Towson High School senior Parker Jensen returned to class on Tuesday and ready to fight back.
I think it's very important, and Mr. Jensen feels the same way.
Sarah Spitalnik is a Baltimore-based attorney who just filed this lawsuit against Baltimore County Public Schools, America's 22nd largest school system with a nearly $3 billion budget.
I would definitely say it's some kind of bullying.
Spitalnik claims in the complaint filed on April 3rd that BCPS acted unlawfully when it suspended Jensen for a week.
Do you believe Jensen's constitutional rights were violated?
Absolutely.
I'm joining the Marine Corps, and patriotism has always been a big thing of mine.
Project Baltimore broke the news on Monday.
Yes, sir.
That on March 28th,
yes, sir,
Jensen withdrew from his class and drove to the Baltimore County Board of Education building, hoping to speak with district leadership about missing American flags at Towson High School.
I believe that this is the main entrance.
According to Baltimore County School Board Policy 6307 and Maryland Education Code 7-105, an American flag must be displayed in each classroom. But Jensen said some classrooms at Towson High did not have flags. So he went to the Board of Education to find out why, and recorded much of his visit.
I have a Towson High School lacrosse shirt on. I have my student ID.
But Jensen did not get answers. Instead, BCPS called the police.
3 cop cars for a kid.
And the 18-year-old was told by Richard Muth,
You're actually suspended from the school.
the school safety emergency manager, that he was immediately suspended for 7 days.
He was summarily suspended without any due process whatsoever, which every student in Baltimore County and Maryland has the right, and they stripped him of that within 5 seconds.
Baltimore County Public Schools declined to comment on the lawsuit, but BCPS did tell Fox 45 News in an earlier email, as of April 1st, flags have been installed in the classrooms that did not have them. In the lawsuit, Jensen asked for his suspension to be vacated, along with monetary relief from BCPS for damages. Spitalnik fears the suspension could negatively affect Jensen's grades and future. Jensen is set to report for Marine boot camp in August.
Yes, sir.
But if he decided, after serving in the Marines, to go to college, this high school suspension could affect his college application.
We're still pushing to make sure that he has the most successful and active senior year he possibly can.
Because there's one more aspect to this. As of now, because of his suspension, Jensen cannot attend senior prom, which is scheduled for mid-May. If the lawsuit is successful and the suspension is vacated, he can attend.
He got suspended for very little cause. He did nothing wrong besides try to bring forth his First Amendment right and really enforce a Maryland law, which is to have American flags in every single classroom.
When the police were called on Jensen at the Board of Education building on March 28th, BCPS threatened to charge him with trespassing. But as of today, that charge has not been filed. I'm Chris Pabst, and this is Project Baltimore.
Well, there you have it, folks. I guess Baltimore has more on its mind than education and following the law. Because don't forget, Baltimore is one of those locations, and I don't know if this is the same school district. Okay, this is Baltimore County, not necessarily Baltimore, Maryland. I'd have to look it up. I didn't do so before the show, so I apologize if I don't know if Baltimore City is in the same county. I would assume so. Most of them are. But the thing about it is they can't even get their students to pass grade level exams. Baltimore, Chicago, and there was one other that I forget right now that recently were demonstrated to have failed. Like an entire graduating class failed for not being able to pass, simple grade level instruction in math and reading and so on and so forth. And this is what they decide because he's basically questioning an obvious law that, hey, why do we not have a flag in the classroom? Kind of interesting. But hey, I got to tell you, for stuff like this, I am impressed. This young man is very impressive to me. And, yeah, you notice that when it became public outcry, like the news report said, they reinstalled all of the flags in the classrooms by April 1st. So obviously they knew they were in the wrong. I hope this guy gets everything that he could, gets his suspension expunged. And yeah, get rid of it completely. So, yeah. Okay, I'm being told by Glow over on Rumble that they didn't used to be. The BCPS is now separate from the city. So but apparently they're still in the thing. Now, Buddy is asking, why was he suspended? Obviously, he was suspended for questioning authority, but I don't know if that was the actual charge. They didn't really go into it in either the article or the news report, of course. But yeah, this is, I see stuff like this, and this is what gives me hope for our next generation of individuals coming up, because of the fact that you see and hear about these stories and you keep thinking to yourself, well, everybody kind of puts down like Gen Z, millennials, etc. And you hear these stories and you think, okay, there is still a spark of hope. There still is a spark of patriotism. There still is a class of young people who are prepared and ready to move forward. And in fact, as an example, obviously today is tax day, 15th of April. I sat down with my daughter to do her taxes. And she, for the first time, well, let's just say at the end of it, I knew I had a conservative on my hands. I'm just saying. She was questioning why any of her money was going to the government. Well, I just looked at her and I said, sweetheart, that's what we all do on tax day. We all say the same thing. Anyway. So I wanted to bring that to your guys' attention. I mean, because again, we celebrate American values and principles, and this young man definitely has it. I think Buddy Weiser actually has stated it so perfectly. He will make a fine Marine. That is true. He absolutely will. All right, so let's do a quick update on the Trump tariffs, because apparently I was reading some of the leftist outlets, leftist rags, and they were bouncing back and forth about whether or not, the tariffs were good, bad. In fact, one article in Politico, which of course is bullshitico and is, a leftist rag, but they put out the Trump tariff tango, is how they put it, which I thought was kind of interesting that they would even call that up. But anyway, but before I launch into that, let me go ahead and give you one of these wonderful ads, because obviously you support me, you support them as much as you can, and that, of course, supports Rumble. So let me go ahead and... Uh-oh. Come on. Oh, it's being funky. There we go. All right, so Weak Coffee is for the weak, and at Rumble, weak has never been a part of the mission. No fillers, no fraud, and no settling for mediocrity. Just like 1775 coffee. It's single origin, small farm, hand-picked, specialty-grade coffee that stands for quality, free speech, and calling out BS when it matters. Forget stale, mass-produced beans, roasted just enough to hide the flaws. Dark roast hits like a Trump tariff. Medium roast that keeps it bold without the bitterness. And, of course, the Vitality Mushroom Blend, which gives you real energy and lasting focus. No synthetic garbage. For K-Cup pods, whole bean, or fresh ground coffee, go to 1775coffee.com. Yes, I 1775, those are the numerals. 1775coffee.com. Use promo code STUDIO for 15% off. And start your morning with coffee that stands for something. Once again, go to 1775coffee. That's the numbers 1775coffee.com, and use promo code STUDIO for 15% off your K-Cup pods, whole beans, or fresh ground coffee to start your morning off with coffee that stands for something. Oh, and by the way, every dollar spent at 1775coffee.com will enter you to win a Cybertruck and $30,000 in cash. Once again, go to 1775coffee.com, use promo code STUDIO, and get 15% off your order. That's 1775coffee.com. All right. Woo. All right. So, before I get into the tariffs, though, I did have this other article, which is kind of interesting to me. It's related. Trust me. I try and keep everything related as much as possible here on the show. But in this particular case, this is kind of interesting. The Trump admin has decided to launch a national security probe into its pharma and semiconductor imports here into the United States. Now, this is, when you think about it, this actually, at least with the semiconductor, at least with the semiconductor imports, absolutely. The pharma, the semiconductor imports, that goes directly into like our weapon systems and navigational gear and, especially vehicles, even military vehicles have electronics in them. They're not all, old school stuff. There's a lot of electronics in them that use semiconductors. But the pharma part, I didn't really think about this, but it could have a tangential effect on the fitness of our fighting force if by some reason, because we're importing all of this stuff from foreign entities, that somebody were to slip something into the supply chain and it made its way to our servicemen and women, this could cause a bit of a problem. And so I kind of agree with this. So the probe, apparently, according to the Epoch Times here, the probe will assess current and projected demand for semiconductors and pharmaceuticals in the country, among other factors. Now, the Commerce Department, in a pair of Federal Register notices set to be published on April 16th, which will be tomorrow, said that the probes were initiated under Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act, which allows the president to impose tariffs on imports considered a threat to national security. The department stated that it began investigating the national security implications of importing semiconductors and semiconductor manufacturing equipment on April 1st. This includes semiconductor substrates, bare wafers, legacy chips, leading-edge chips, microelectronics, and SME components, as well as derivative products from those particular items, according to one of the filings. So the probe is going to assess current and projected demand for semiconductors and SME in the United States, the extent of which domestic production can or is expected to meet that demand, and the role of foreign fabrication and assembly, the concentration of U.S. semiconductor imports, and the potential for export restrictions by other nations, among other issues. Now, keep in mind, folks, okay, keep in mind, the reason why they're doing this is because China is being more and more aggressive, not only toward us, but also toward Taiwan. Well, his plan now is to add semiconductors and pharmaceuticals to his tariff idea. He's actually arguing that we need to domesticate pharma and semiconductor production because it is a national security issue. And I'm just saying, I mean, the semiconductors I totally get. That's immediately what comes to my mind, but I never really thought about the pharma aspect to it. And so, given that, and now rethinking my thought process, and I'm sitting here looking, going, I'm not against this idea. This is actually pretty darn smart of the Trump administration to go ahead and be asking these same questions. Well, since he is talking about moving towards semiconductor tariffs, okay, we now have a major chip manufacturer, according to this article in the Daily Caller, that NVIDIA is going to start manufacturing new supercomputers entirely within the U.S. So NVIDIA has decided, apparently, and announced just yesterday, that it is designing factories to manufacture artificial intelligence supercomputers entirely within America. Now, the reason for this, obviously, is to avoid those tariffs that Trump is talking about. Now, do you see what I'm saying about tariffs? Whether he leverages them or not, just the mere threat of them has started to change the thought processes of these organizations. They're starting to realize that it's going to cost them ultimately their customer base, but it's going to cost them some of their customer base because the customers are going to go away if the tariffs are applied. This is part of what I've been telling you. This is part of what anybody in the conservative realm has been telling you. To fearmonger like the left does over the idea of tariffs when the tariffs hadn't even started or had been kicked in yet, he's using them as leverage, and to in this case, a very effective method to cause one of the largest companies to swap and decide to move within the U.S. So now, in tandem with other companies, NVIDIA is securing over 1 million square feet of factory floor space to manufacture AI chips in Arizona and build supercomputers in Texas. Notice what those two states often have in common. Well, Texas, I know for a fact, they got great weather, low cost of living, conservative values, conservative government. They are willing to give tax breaks and basically pay companies money to come there. And they have an influx of people. Same thing with Arizona. Now, NVIDIA is, of course, a key corporate player, according to this Daily Caller article. A key corporate player in the bipartisan U.S. effort to reshore chip manufacturing capacity in order to be less exposed to any China or possible military action against Taiwan. where much of the world's chip industry is currently centered. Don't you see? This is exactly what I've been talking about. We've gone and put our eggs into somebody else's basket, and we are completely at the mercy of that individual or that country. Okay? Glow added low taxes and a lot of engineers in Texas. Yes. Texas is a great place for business. I'm telling you, it is a fantastic place for business. But anyway, the point being here is that Donald Trump's tariffs, folks, his threat of tariffs is causing all of this to start moving back. We've been handing so much off. And by the way, it started way back when RCA, the maker of the first television set, decided to offshore manufacturing over to Japan, and Japan basically took it. For those of you that don't know, the Japanese, I don't know if they still have this policy, probably do, but they used to have a policy that you couldn't patent something in Japan if you were an offshore company for at least 7 years. It took 7 years to complete the patent application. By that time, what ended up happening is the patent application was taken by the government, handed over to a Japanese company. The Japanese company re-engineered it, then went and filed the patent for it. So by the time that the offshore patent came due, there was already a patent for it. And so the Japanese would basically say, well, we can't patent it because there's already somebody else that has a patent. Again, I don't know if that's still the case. Wouldn't be a surprise. I mean, that is an example of a country that is protecting its own. Now, we in America and in the Western world, we look, well, hey, that's unfair business practices. Well, you've got to understand, they study Sun Tzu, which is all is fair in love and war. Business is war. That's their philosophy. So anyway. So NVIDIA founder and CEO Jensen Huang said in a statement, quote, "The engines of the world's AI infrastructure are being built in the United States for the first time. Adding American manufacturing helps us better meet the incredible and growing demand for AI chips and supercomputers, strengthens our supply chain, and boosts our resiliency." And there we go. So they are coming here. They are investing, and it's going to start build. They are going to start building and heavily investing in America. So there you go. I know my voice is getting worse, guys, but believe me, I only got another 15 minutes I'm going to push through, and we'll deal with it. I'll go drink some hot tea with honey or something after this. I've been trying to get some rest all day today, so it just, yeah. Anyway, moving on to continue. All right. So it's not just these chip manufacturers. We also have some automakers that are starting to realize that where the chips on the poker table lie. Here in Newsmax, Honda is supposedly going to make 90% of all of the cars that it sells in the U.S. locally. They're relocating their Mexico and Canada plants. Remember those tariffs in Mexico and Canada that everybody was like, oh my gosh, this is going to kill all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Well, yeah. Honda, according to this article, is considering switching some car production from Mexico and Canada to the United States, aiming for 90% of the cars sold in the United States to be made locally, in response to the new U.S. auto trade tariffs. This was according to the Nikkei newspaper. So this wasn't even a newspaper here in the United States. Japan's second biggest automaker by sales, plans to increase U.S. vehicle production by as much as 30% over 2 to 3 years in response to President Trump's decision to put a 25% levy on imported vehicles, Nikkei said. Honda declined to comment, saying the information was not announced by the company. So who knows where it came from? Please give me a break. It was leaked. Somebody leaked it. But anyway, in the weeks leading up to the new U.S. levy, Reuters had already reported that Honda plans to make its next generation Civic hybrid in the United States in the state of Indiana instead of Mexico to avoid potential tariffs. Yep. Oh, gee, I wonder why. Here, this next paragraph tells you the U.S. was Honda's biggest market last year. Oh, my OMG. Who would have thunk? So the U.S. market accounted for nearly 40% of their global sales. The automaker sold 1.4 million vehicles in the U.S. last year. Yeah. Yep. Ugh. And folks, I'm telling you, yes, I was in a wait and see mode. I'm still kind of in a wait and see mood. Okay? Wait and see mode. But things are looking really, really good for America, as they should. It should always be America first. It should always be America in the forefront of everybody's mind. Well, people say, and some people say, not those smart ones, but some people say, oh, the Doge thing. Yeah, that thing, it's not working. All of that stuff is fake, whatever. It's coming up with nothing. Well, not according to the state of Mississippi. Do you think massive government waste is limited to the federal government? Nope. Now, I'm not knocking the state of Mississippi on this, but let's be honest. Everybody should be audited. LifeSet, Musk-inspired Moj in Mississippi exposes massive government waste. Well, the Mississippi State Auditor, name of Shadwhite, announced yesterday that his office has uncovered approximately $400 million in government waste just during his time in office, as detailed in a 800-page report that was supposed to be released yesterday afternoon. White, who has held the office since 2018, said the compilation highlights examples of inefficiency, fraud, and misuse of taxpayers' funds across various agencies in the state. Why is this anything of a surprise to people? I mean, again, Milton Friedman pointed this out a long time ago. When you have a third-party payer system, which basically means that there is a person who is paying for the services rendered and doesn't even care about the quality of those services rendered, just pays money, do you think they're going to be fraud and waste and abuse? Of course, because that person, it's not their money. They have literally no skin in the game. This is part of the reason why healthcare is so explosively, astronomically expensive. People don't seem to understand. When you have a third-party payer system, you have a person or an entity within the paying chain that essentially has zero skin in the game. It's not their money, so they don't care how much it costs, and it's not their services, so they don't care how good the services are. I mean, this is exactly the problem with the third-party payer system. This is why we need to get rid of the idea that government is involved with all of these things that constitutionally, they're not supposed to be involved in. Healthcare, education, Social Security, retirement, all these things are essentially not listed in Article 1, Section 8 as a responsibility of the federal government. And yet, Democrats have made it so, and nobody's objected. At least nobody. At least nobody with a voice, a strong enough voice. Well, I'm going to be here. I'm going to try. If you guys sit here and think that government waste is not across the entire entire world is just, or, well, the U.S. anyway. You're delusioning yourself. All right. Well, somebody once told me, and I don't remember who, wasn't one of my listeners, because I'm telling you, my listeners are the smartest audience in the streaming verse. But somebody once told me that, oh, no, there's no massive Social Security fraud. There's no massive Social Security thefts. There's nothing going on. Illegals aren't getting Social Security. They can't get a Social Security number. Really? 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 Here, Daily Fetched. ICE charges 14 illegals in massive Social Security theft scheme. Really? Really? Yeah, Social Security is about as secure as our elections right now. Anyway, these 14... Excuse me. I'm determined to power through, folks. 10 more minutes. The Social Security, ICE has announced that 14 illegal aliens have been charged with defrauding the Social Security Administration and stealing American citizens' identities. A total of 14 illegal aliens, 12 of whom are from Honduras, were charged with aggravated identity theft, misuse of Social Security numbers, and making false statements. You're sitting here laughing over the fact that DOJ found all of these people who were part of the Social Security rolls, and here we are. Here we are, and they freaking, yeah. Anyway, the defendants, which is also including one Guatemalan and one Mexican national, were indicted on separate dates over the past 2 years. If convicted, the individuals face a minimum penalty of 2 years, up to 12 years, so basically from 2 to 12, in federal prison. The arrest came amid an ongoing operation that included ICE, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, and the U.S. Department of Labor, and several other local law enforcement agencies in Florida. The Trump administration has vowed to crack down on identity theft committed by illegal immigrants after an Arizona woman recently pleaded guilty to defrauding U.S. companies while making $17 million for herself and for North Korea. Also, Christina Marie Chapman, 48, pleaded guilty in federal court to conspiracy to commit identity theft, wire fraud, and laundering monetary instruments, according to a press release from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia. Yeah, So none of this is happening, Democrats. Oh, yeah, no, none of this is happening, but it's good that it is. Yeah, right. No, it's happening, folks. In fact, it's happening so much, by the way, that now the Social Security Administration has just announced that they're rolling out enhanced technology to help detect suspicious activity in telephone claims or banking charges. The new technology is apparently going to strengthen identification verification and prevent fraud. The SSA, the Social Security Administration, had initially planned to roll out the new identity proofing policies in March, but pushback from beneficiaries and advocates delayed it. Well, now the policies have gone through 2 changes so far. So here's the thing, is that fraudulent phone callers stole some benefits because previously Social Security recipients, by the way, illegals are not getting Social Security, right? Oh, yeah, they are. Trust me. Originally, Social Security recipients could call a toll-free number to change their direct deposit bank information. Except there was a problem using the phone. According to the SSA, approximately 40% of direct deposit fraud was due to someone calling the SSA to change the bank information. Yeah, okay. And although SSA employees asked questions to verify identity, many thieves successfully stole people's funds by diverting the benefits to other bank accounts or even Visa cards. Really? I mean, come on, folks. You can't, there is nothing. Well, first of all, I'm going to be honest with you. There really is nothing that is entirely foolproof. There's always going to be the ability for the clever criminal to figure out how to do it. But at the same time, though, you can make it more difficult for just the average individual person to basically, get in and spoof stuff. So, anyway. So they are trying to get this set up. They're trying to do this the right way, which I certainly hope that they're actually going to be able to make it through for that. All right, before we switch to another topic, let me get a real quick read on this Rumble Premium. This sponsorship is from Rumble, one that is incredibly important to the survival of the company. When Rumble first started in 2013, they built a platform for the small creator, like myself. They didn't censor or have biases. They were fair and treated all creators equally. No one thought platforms would censor political conversation or censor opinions on things like COVID, but they did, and Facebook themselves even admitted that they fell to the pressure from the Biden-Harris administration. Even though that's technically illegal, they did it anyway. Rumble, of course, did not. They held the line. They are attacked daily for giving us a voice and allowing us to talk to you. They are attacked in corporate media. They are attacked by governments like France. They are attacked from brand advertisers who refuse to work with them. Corporate America is fighting to remove speech. Rumble is fighting to keep it. Rumble won't survive with brand advertisers. They don't get that much of brand advertisement dollars. Watching our show on Rumble is the most that they can ask from you, but if you really believe in this fight, and if you have the means, one major way you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. Join the community that believes in the First Amendment and believes in our human right to free speech. Rumble is offering $10 off with the promo code STUDIO, that's STUDIO, when you purchase an annual subscription. Go to rumble.com / that's the question mark key, / premium, and use the promo code STUDIO, STUDIO, there to receive $10 off when you purchase an annual subscription. Like I said, if you have the means and believe in the cause, now is the time to join Rumble Premium. If you don't have the means, that's fine. We are just happy that you watch us on Rumble. Believe me, I appreciate Rumble because I was a victim of some of that stuff on Facebook. Well, apparently Kash Patel has finally put to bed the whole Russia hoax, although I don't think that's going to shut Adam Schiff up very much. Anyway, really quick, here's the Daily Fetched. Kash Patel delivered a final blow to the whole narrative with a 700-page Crossfire Hurricane release to Congress. Now, this was supposed to be released to the public. I didn't really look for it. I was going to, but I didn't really get around to it. But anyway, Kash Patel apparently delivered 700 pages of new documents relating to what was called Operation Crossfire Hurricane, and that was the spying on the incoming Trump administration first term. He released that to Congress this week. The documents, which are supposed to be available to the public starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, that was yesterday. No, actually, that was on the 12th. So they should already be released. And despite being debunked by special counsel John Durham's report, Trump's political opponents, like Shifty Schiff, still use the theory to try and discredit him. It's a bunch of crap. And I told you it was a bunch of crap. So did a lot of other conservative podcasters and commentators. They all said it was a bunch of crap. Anyway, they even call him out in this article in the Daily Fetch. They said one such opponent is Representative Adam Schiff, who continues to push the whole Russiagate theory. Now, if you recall, he claimed that Trump colluded with Russia and that he had all the proof necessary, but he never released the proof. And that's why he got censured in the House, and that's why he moved to the Senate. But of course, the dumbass Californians in his district or whoever went ahead and voted him in. Well, of course, he's a senator, so that would have been the whole state. But anyway, what a mess. All right, folks, that is it for me for this evening. My voice is shot. You guys have been great. I will see you tomorrow, hopefully. If something changes, I will let you know. I need a pet of the week. I need a pet of the week. I need a pet of the week. Anyway, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are there and signed up and signed in, then make sure that you find the American Perspective channel and click that follow button to get notified every time I go live. Also, too, don't forget to hit those thumbs up on your way out. All right? On your way out, hit those thumbs up and like buttons across all my platforms, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, X, and, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. We will hopefully see you tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. God, I'm glad to be back in the studio. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great evening, everybody, and good night.